What's going on, y'all? I am the host from Couple of Dudes podcast. Today I have a very special guest, Gordy.
Hey, very special. That's quite the intro. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yup. Today we're gonna talk a little bit about the current controversy amongst the 49ers QB room with Trey Lance and Jimmy G being re-signed.
Oh boy.
Your thoughts?
My thoughts on...
We'll go your thoughts on Trey Lance to start off.
Well, let me start off by qualifying myself as a diehard fan of the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. So I do have a little bit of bias. So I feel like I should probably tell the listeners that I do have that bias. And as a Rams fan, we're just kind of sitting back, eating our popcorn, watching this complete mess. What do I think? Wow, where do you even begin? So they give up a shit ton of draft capital for Trey Lance, take a really big risk on this kid who barely played any college football and didn't take a lot of meaningful snaps in college. They pass on Mac Jones and let him go to New England. And I think it's safe to say Trey Lance seems like a really nice kid with a ton of talent and a tremendous amount of upside and potential, but it obviously hasn't played out so far, and they've made him the starter, but a week before the season starts, you renegotiate Jimmy G's contract after you saying you were going to trade him, and then he was no longer part of the team, and yada yada yada, and now you've created a quarterback controversy. You've probably split your locker room. And what does Trey Lance think of all this? What does his agent think of all this?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because his agent is like, he's like, what the hell? 2 weeks ago, you said I was the week one starter. You said I was starting. I was gonna be your guy. And now Jimmy G's back in the mix. Whatever this says, this could mean a couple different things. This could mean he's not very good. They don't like him. This could mean that they think Jimmy G gives them their best chance to win this season. Like, where are you at on this?
Here's what I think is going on in the 49er front office right now. This is just my opinion from kind of watching what's going down. They panicked. They couldn't trade Jimmy G. They clearly wanted to trade him. They gave him and his agent permission to go find their own trade. They couldn't find a trade. They didn't want to release him, so he's on their roster. He's taken up a $26 million cap hit. I think they panicked. I think that they think they've got a, quote, Super Bowl roster other than the quarterback.
Pretty much, because if you look at their roster, they have the top 5 roster in the league because they have a lot of superstars in first ballot Hall of Famer left tackle Trent Williams, George Kittle, obviously, Bosa's great, Fred Warner, all those guys. Fred
Warner's a headhunter. He's a dirty bastard. Go ahead.
He is. But they've got all these great pieces, but they're just missing the one guy. They're just missing the biggest piece.
Your roster is only as good as your quarterback. That's the bottom line. You can have this great roster. I think back in the day we never used to talk about rosters, right? It's just we've got this Super Bowl roster. Okay, great. Obviously they felt that Trey Lance right now, heading into the season, isn't ready. So they're gonna keep him as the starter. They think that making Jimmy G, I think everybody's pretty much convinced that it's inevitable that Jimmy G's going to be the starter at some point this year, and not due to Trey Lance getting injured. It's going to be due to performance. So why not make the move now? I don't know. There's what's really going on, and then there's the spin. And Niner homer is going to be like, oh yeah, we got the best of both worlds. We got the young stud quarterback who's going to be the next Patrick Mahomes, and then if he gets injured, we've got the steady Eddie Jimmy G. Okay, if you want to believe that, in Niner camp, if that's what you need to tell yourself, you go right ahead. Here's what the rest of the league is saying. Trey Lance isn't good enough. Not yet. They panicked, and they went to Jimmy G and said, hey, dude, we need to restructure you. We'll give you a ton of incentives, and the first chance we get, you're going to be the starter. That's what's going on, in my opinion.
Yeah, I could totally see that being a reality. And then again, you all these other teams have got some sort of QB situation going on, but the Niners, something about them that's so appealing.
Seattle's going to tank. Obviously, they're trying to get a high draft pick.
They're trying to get Bryce Young.
And Jimmy G wasn't going to... What difference was he going to make? Another win or two, maybe? So a 3-win team is a 5-win team? Who cares? Why do that? Why pay him all that money? And we saw what happened with Cleveland. Now their guy has that... Deshaun Watson, 11 game? Is it 11?
He has an 11-game suspension and a $5 million fine.
Okay, so... The fine doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's an 11-game suspension. They're going with, who's their backup? Brissett?
Jacoby Brissett.
Okay, so they figured that Jacoby Brissett probably gives them as good of a chance to win as let's remember one thing. Although Jimmy G has this great record, and the Niners have won X amount of games with Jimmy G, nobody's really ever accused Jimmy G of being a great quarterback.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look, I get it. For the Niners system, and if you look at his win-loss record, okay, yeah, he's won games there. But do opposing defensive coordinators lose sleep all week preparing for Jimmy G? No. Not like they do Aaron Rodgers and Brady and some of these other guys. So you're talking about a middle-of-the-pack quarterback at best. So
he's this is the nicest thing I can say about Jimmy G. He's the world's best bridge quarterback.
I mean, you watch a Niner game on a Sunday, and you watch him, and he throws that one stupid interception, but he also throws 2 touchdown passes, and he goes 21 of 29 for 278 yards, and yeah, he had a good game. But what are we talking about? I don't know. I just think he's average at best, above average at best. Actually, I'll be honest with you. Even as a Ram fan, I'm pulling for Trey Lance a little bit. Seems like a really nice guy. Mm-hmm. Got drafted high, a lot of pressure on him. He has a lot of pressure to perform. He's been there for over 400 days at this point, and way more pressure now that they've re-upped Jimmy G. Honestly, what is he thinking right now? I'm heading into the first week of the season. I'm the starter, but obviously the team doesn't have 100% faith in me. Because they signed Jimmy G. Why else would they? You know what I heard today on the radio, dude? I heard that they didn't even give Jimmy G the playbook. All off season. You know why? Because they were convinced he was going to another team, and they didn't want this. Yeah, they didn't want this year's playbook in his head in case he went. So this is what I think. I think they were getting ready to cut him. Right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, don't give him the playbook. Either that or they just didn't change the playbook from last year and they didn't need to give him a copy. But isn't that telling? They didn't even give him a copy of the playbook because they didn't want him being signed by another team that might be on the Niners schedule. Right? Yeah. So here's Jimmy G. He's coming off shoulder surgery. He hasn't thrown a pass all preseason, hasn't participated in any meetings.
Yep.
And now he's your backup quarterback. And one play away from being your starter. I don't know. If this is one of the worst ways I've seen a front office handle a player in a long, long, long time.
Yeah.
It's laughable. It's utterly laughable. And maybe they're smarter than everybody else. Look, anytime you save money on your salary cap, what do they save? 20 million bucks or something?
Something like that.
That's great. Mm-hmm. Hey, saving money on your cap, moving money around, every team does it. Every team does it. Moving money around and free. So now they can go sign some other guys. Yeah. What's going to happen in week 1 when the Niners lose 29-10 and they're 0-1 and Trey Lance went 11 of 15 for, with 3 picks. You know what I mean? What if they're 2-5 or what if, right? I'm telling you, when a quarterback isn't playing well, everybody wants the backup in. And in this case, the backup was the starter last year and got him to the NFC Championship game. It's just
beat Aaron Rodgers in Lambeau.
Yeah, Dak Prescott in Texas, and I don't know, man. I feel bad for Trey Lance. I think this sends a bad message. Who knows? Maybe he comes out and kills it. Maybe
who knows?
Maybe Jimmy G doesn't take a snap all year. Maybe this guy is the next Patrick Mahomes. Maybe he does take him to a deep playoff run. From the games I saw last year, there certainly is some upside, some potential. I didn't watch a lot of Niners preseason. I don't know, but I'm telling you this right now. If they were 100% confident in him going into the season and thought this guy's going to light it up, they wouldn't be restructuring Jimmy G and making him the backup. I think that's fair, isn't it?
I agree.
Yeah.
But
so let's shift gears. Enough about the 49ers. Let's talk about your Raiders a little bit. You excited?
oh yeah, I'm excited for the season. Yeah.
Prediction on their
On the record?
yeah, the record, bud. Let's get right to it.
Okay.
Double-digit wins. Obviously, we start there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd say at least we replicate the record from last year.
Which was
10-7.
okay. So 10. So they're
Because-
winning double-digit.
We added a great edge rusher in Chandler Jones. Now
Yeah.
we have one of the best edge rush duos in the league.
Yeah, maybe the best.
Maybe the best. I'd say
Arguably.
they're right up there with the Chargers.
Yeah.
And then we also added Davante Adams.
Yeah, well, he's, last I heard, a pretty good receiver.
Best receiver in the NFL.
Oh, all
Maybe
right.
not last season,
All right.
but
He
I'm just-
is
he-
one of
he
the
is-
very best elite receivers in the NFL. There's no doubt about it.
yes. And he's playing with his old college quarterback. I feel like there's a lot of upside. The Raiders have been cutting a lot of their wide receivers that they signed. They cut Demarcus Robinson. They cut Keelan Cole. So now we're putting a lot of pressure on Mac Hollins to be that guy unless they're looking to sign someone. Not totally sure. Maybe OBJ's in the future.
Wow.
Who knows?
I heard a radio guy this morning just eviscerating them for the Alex Leatherwood pick. Just how terrible.
Yeah. I forgot that we cut
Yeah,
him.
but that was such a bad to
Terrible.
draft an O lineman in the first round and cut him a year later that's a miss.
Yeah,
That's a
and they
really
supposedly
bad miss.
they offered, they talked to every team and asked if they wanted him to trade for him, and every team said no.
Yeah, they went over all of those final John Gruden draft picks, and it
Yeah.
was just all like Ruggs.
Ever since 2018,
It's just been so bad.
the only big draft hit we've had is Josh Jacobs, and even then, we didn't pick up his fifth-year option.
Yeah, he's a middle of the road running back. He's good. He's not elite. Ruggs had some red flags coming out of college, and we all know what happened with him tragically. Leatherwood.
And the sad thing is, Ruggs was doing really good. Ruggs
Yeah.
was doing really good last season for
Yeah.
the first 8 games,
Yeah.
and then
he decided
he had like 500 receiving yards.
Yeah, but
And he did that.
I think the Raiders obviously play in the toughest division in the NFL, maybe the toughest division ever.
Of all time.
Probably it's going to be tough.
The greatest quarterback division of all time.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought about it. Well, so Mahomes,
Mahomes,
Herbert,
Russ,
Carr,
and
and
Herbert.
Russ. Yeah, that's right. Russ is in Denver.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the Rams to play Denver. We terrorize Russ. We just chase him all over the field and make life miserable for him. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I hate Seattle. Yeah, I'm excited for the season. Buffalo and the Rams a week from tonight. Thursday night football kicks off the
No,
season.
that's tomorrow night.
What did I say? Tonight?
I said
A week
tonight.
what did you say? So a week from tomorrow night. Buffalo at the Rams. Some people calling it a Super Bowl preview. You
Yeah,
know,
it could absolutely be.
could very
because
well be. Gonna be a hell of a ball game.
Buffalo's
I
looking
tell you,
like-
as a Rams fan, I said it the day we won the bowl, and I'll say it again. I'm cool this year, man. I'm cool. It's very hard to repeat. Repeating is what the last team was, the Patriots.
The Patriots in 03, 04.
03, 04. So obviously it's extremely difficult. You played, more games than any other team in the NFL except for one last year, the team you beat in the Super Bowl. I'm cool, man. I think the Rams are going to be really, really good. I think they're obviously going to make the playoffs. I think they make a deep run in the playoffs, but it's going to be tough. There's some hungry teams out there that want to do well, and there's some teams that really want to badly win a Super Bowl. So, I'm cool, man. I waited a long time for the Los Angeles Rams to win a bowl, and I'm cool this year, man. If we stub our toe and maybe aren't having as good of a season, I'll just watch highlights from last year, man. I got some money in the bank on that one. It should be fun. Who's like your dark horse team that you really seriously think, a team that made the playoffs last year or not, that you think will not only make the playoffs but maybe even win a game?
Okay, this one might come as a surprise to you.
Go on.
But Minnesota.
The Vikings.
Yes.
I heard some good things about them on the radio today. Kirk Cousins has the Minnesota Vikings coach was his O coordinator in Washington or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I heard some good things about the Vikings today. Yeah.
Great receiver duo. The defensive front is really good. I see them as a dark horse.
Maybe even win the division if the Packers stumble.
I don't see the Packers winning the division this year.
So who wins that division?
Minnesota
Vikings to win the NFC Norris division. That might be before your time.
Yeah. The
Norris division. That's a Chris Berman quip. Okay. What about an AFC dark horse team to make the playoffs and maybe win a game?
Indy.
They make the playoffs last year?
Nope.
They did not?
They didn't because
they lost to
Jacksonville
in
week 18. And
bad.
Since they lost, the Raiders made it because they lost.
Yeah.
The Raiders made it to the playoffs, and they beat the Chargers in week 18 to make it to the playoffs.
Okay.
So the Raiders making it to the playoffs simultaneously knocked out the two best teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, that was weird. I remember that when we were driving home from LA after that week 18 game.
Yeah.
My NFC dark horse team that I think is going to squeak into the playoffs.
Let me guess. Detroit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm really sticking my neck out on that one. I think Detroit is gonna win some football games, and I think
they're gonna be pissed off from last season.
And again, I got my Ram bias. I still love Jared Goff. Jared Goff won a lot of games with the Rams and looked like an amazing top tier quarterback at times. The two games I'll point out for Jared Goff was the famous Monday night game against Kansas City when the Rams won like 54-51, and it was just a shootout. Some of the throws he made in that game were incredible. The other game that he played, I think it was the same season, it was also a primetime game. I think it was a Sunday night game against the Vikings. I challenge anybody to go back, YouTube that game, Rams versus Vikings from whatever year that was, 2019 or whatever. Incredible. One of the best games I've ever seen a quarterback play. I think that he settles in this year. I think they make the playoffs, but maybe don't win a playoff game. And then in the AFC,
what do you think the record's going to be?
I think they win. Well, you got to win at least 9 games to get in the playoffs. So I'm going to say they win 9 games,
9-8,
and they somehow squeak into the playoffs.
Okay.
And then they lose the wild card game on the road. I think in the AFC, I think Miami's a team that didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, the Dolphins are.
I mean, they signed the kid from Kansas City, the wide receiver. I think Tua's got something to prove.
They traded for him.
My bad.
Yeah, they gave up like 5 draft picks to get him.
So I think they've got something to prove. I think that division.
I think
Buffalo's clearly the class of the division.
Oh yeah.
I think New England's going to shit the bed, and I think the Jets are going to shit the bed. Mm-hmm. I think, dude, first game of the season, the Dolphins are going to crush. Whatever the point spread is on that, bet on Miami. I think they're going to crush New England week 1.
Yeah.
44-3. Just annihilate them. So I think Miami makes the playoffs, And I'll,
New England is looking like a tire fire this year.
Wow.
They do not have...
That's a bad deal.
They don't have any coordinators. Bill Belichick is...
They've got Matt Patricia as he's a defensive guy. They got him on offense. I don't know what they're doing. Hey, it's Bill Belichick. I mean, obviously, we'll see what happens there. But who do you think's just going to absolutely suck ass and just?
See, Chicago, because their best player just requested a trade, and
they're such a mess. Such
their
a
best
poorly
players
run organization.
If your best player's a linebacker in 2022, when the NFL is so offensive focused, they've spent so little on the offensive side of the ball because their best wide receiver is Darnell Mooney. Granted, great receiver, but he's not going to do anything with Justin Fields throwing to him. Justin Fields,
is a huge question mark. The Bears are. I think you might be right. I think that and I'm going to say Seattle because I hate Seattle.
Mm-hmm. I would want to. My gut is saying Atlanta, but I like.
Well, they got Mariota, right?
I like a lot of their players.
They could surprise.
Like Marcus
they
Mariota.
could. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I think they might win a couple more games than people think. I think Seattle has a horrible season. I think because they're going to tank, and then Chicago's bad. What about the AFC?
Well, you've got the Jets, obviously.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson is out for probably the first 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, they're going to suck. Who knows about Jacksonville? I think they're going to be a little bit better. Houston, with Davis Mills is their guy.
Yep.
I mean, they might be a little bit better. Hard to say in the AFC.
See, I really like Brandon Cooks.
Oh, the receiver?
Yeah.
He's had concussion issues, but that's when he was with the Rams. But, in the AFC, I think the Patriots are going to have a really rough year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
I really think, and I'm going to love every minute of it. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to love every minute of it.
Me too.
Because they're a bunch of cheating bastards.
I'm not very fond of the Patriots either.
So who's your division winners? NFC West.
NFC West, that's the Rams.
Los Angeles Rams. Okay. NFC Norris. The black and blue
Minnesota.
division. Minnesota Vikings. NFC South. Tampa. See, I think
I think the Saints.
The Saints are going to be a good.
Yeah,
they're a dark horse team as well. I think
they have a really stacked defense.
Yeah,
this year.
and Winston looks pretty good, right? And then NFC. Did we cover all the divisions?
NFC East.
East, yeah, the East.
Philly's
going to step up and win that division.
I don't think Dallas is.
You don't think it's the Cowboys? So
I
don't
like Dallas.
All right.
They lost 2 really good receivers, especially Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's big. I like Micah Parsons a lot, though. Micah Parsons he's looking like a dude.
He's wonderful. He's looking like a Hall of Famer. Okay, AFC South.
AFC South.
So
Buffalo.
That's the East. That's the East.
Yeah.
AFC South is Tennessee, Jacksonville,
Indy.
Who's the 4th team in that division?
Houston.
So Indy wins that division.
Yeah.
And then AFC East is Buffalo. AFC North is Baltimore?
Oh, yeah.
Pittsburgh?
See, Baltimore, the only person Lamar has to throw to, and Lamar Jackson, there's a lot of drama with him right now.
Yeah.
A lot of contract negotiation.
He wants a contract, man. He wants to get his dollars.
He went to on Twitter and liked a Photoshop of him in a Miami jersey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I liked a Twitter a Photoshop of me in a Little Bo Peep outfit. What does that even mean?
I don't even know.
Yeah, so I think...
See, the Ravens...
I'm going to say...
I'd say Cincy.
Yeah, Cincy. Yeah, Cincy's in that division.
I like Pittsburgh, but
who's going to quarterback for him? They haven't even announced their starter.
Kenny Pickett's gonna.
He's the starter. They announced.
He's been tearing it up. He was tearing it up in the preseason.
They announced that he's the starter.
No.
Okay.
but it's a pretty safe.
Who's
decision.
it's Mitchell Trubisky?
Mitch Trubisky, and then the other one's Mason Rudolph.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
Okay,
you
yeah.
wanna hear-
Since he
you wanna hear
wins that division,
Here's a cool fact. Well, not very
here's
cool.
a fun fact.
About the Steelers. They have the 30. They have the highest money spent on their defense, and the least amount of money spent on their offense.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because the only piece they
That's
have
a
on their
fun fact.
offense is Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I want to see Kenny Pickett start. You know, he's 24 years old. He played
Really?
5 years in college,
Wow.
which is rare. He's a fifth-year senior, so he redshirted. But he's 24, right? So he'll be a 6-year pro and already turning 30. So he's not 20. He's not 21. I think he's got a lot of experience. If he doesn't start week 1, he'll be starting soon thereafter. He played all of his college games in that stadium. All those practices. Pitt was so he knows that building. He knows that locker room. He's very comfortable in that setting. I think he's going to do really well. Okay, and last AFC West.
Okay.
Take him, man. Just pick him. Do it. Do it.
I got the Raiders winning the division.
Raiders.
See, you had a very interesting fact about the AFC West.
I did?
You said, like, what if they all get the same... It's possible they all get the same record.
That's right. I forgot about that. What if they split? Okay,
so they all go 4-4 in the...
They all go 4-4 in the division, which leaves nine games after that, and then they all go 5-4 the rest of the way, right?
And then they all have the same record of like 9-8.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? I mean, the odds of that happening are pretty slim.
But this is like the only time ever where that's feasibly possible.
It's mathematically possible, and not
all the
absolutely
teams
great.
are good enough to do it.
Imagine that. All 4 teams go 9-8.
And then you have to go into like point differential.
Whatever the NFL's tiebreaker is, yeah. But that would be pretty hilarious. I think the Raiders. I don't know, man. I don't even know who I could predict. But every year the Chargers are kind of like the Clippers, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's the Chargers year. They're going to do it. They're going to do it. And they never do.
See, this year,
How many playoff games has Justin Herbert played?
0. But Justin Herbert's really talented.
Okay. I'd like to see him in a big spot.
See, right now, I'm going to sound like all the Clippers
If they would have won the last game last year, they were in, right? Win and you're in against the Raiders.
If they tied, they were in. Yeah.
They weren't going to tie that. Well, yeah, it was a weird game. That could have actually happened.
So if they won, and the game went to overtime,
right?
Too. The Raiders almost blew it.
Yeah. They had a huge.
They were up by like 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter.
It was like Justin Herbert was like, he came down, and it would be 3rd down, and he'd just throw a bomb to Mike Williams every play.
Yeah, I remember that. We listened on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
But he had the chance, winning you're in. He just had to beat his rival, and he was in the playoffs, and he lost. So, you know what? I think, look, I hear what they're saying about Justin Herbert. He looks like an amazing young quarterback who's going to have a wonderful career. But I haven't seen the kid in the playoffs yet in a big spot.
Yep.
So make the playoffs and win a ball game. It's what they said about Stafford. Remember that whole thing about Stafford? Mm-hmm. The guys never won a playoff game. Well, we all saw what happened last year. He had to prove it, and he proved it. Exactly. Not only did he win the damn playoff game, he won the damn Super Bowl.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk some hockey. Let's dive into some hockey. Quebec Nordiques, man. What do you think they're going to do?
I have no idea what that is.
We're not talking hockey. Hockey. What, we got anything else? How's the time looking?
Well, we're about a half hour in.
Half hour in? How long are these programs usually?
I'd say right now.
Right about now? We're gonna go to our sponsors we're going to go to Golden Grams. Enjoy a bowl of Golden Grams.
And Arizona.
Yep. This show is brought to you by Arizona
Diet Green Tea.
Diet Green Tea with ginseng. You're feeling a little down, get yourself a tall glass of Arizona Diet Green Tea with ginseng. Mm-hmm. And Golden Grams didn't quite like what Mom served for dinner. Maybe a couple hours later, we get a nice bowl of golden grams. All right, we good?
Yep.
Good show, bud. Thanks for having me.
That was the show.
Yeah.
That was Gordy. And I'll see you guys later.
Couple
on
of dudes.
The Couple of Dudes podcast.
Couple of dudes.
See you later.